Okay, somebody here is a major idiot. The only thing I'm sure about right now is that it's not me. But this is really a story about how all the anti-AI people are running out of arguments, and forgetting basic chemistry to boot. The complaint is that AI uses data centers, and data centers use water, and water is scarce in some places like Texas, therefore AI is bad. This is from the Economic Times, and doesn't that name just fill you with confidence? The opening paragraph reads like something straight out of a Marxist playbook, quote, "Amid the ongoing worsening drought condition in Texas, the state's residents face an unexpected water dilemma. While communities are urged to conserve every drop, even cutting back on simple showers, massive new AI data centers are quickly using millions of gallons daily to keep their operations running, as per a report." See? You're not allowed to use water. Why are they? Mind you, they didn't do anything as useful as actually linking to the report. But the first one they mentioned was Microsoft's Stargate campus. First problem, the Stargate campus isn't even up and running yet. Also, Texas is a huge state. While the western part of the state has low rainfall and even desert conditions, much of the eastern part of the state has plenty of water. As for those data centers, that water will evaporate indoors, but if you're in a dry area, the HVAC system will be maintaining humidity anyway. So that just means the HVAC system will draw less water from outside to maintain indoor humidity. They dazzle you with an over 9,000 fallacy by saying, quote, "Texas AI centers guzzle 463 million gallons. First of all, they're not all about AI. They're just data centers. But apart from that, they're not giving you the context. As with all statistics, and regular listeners should know the question to ask right now, compared to what? Texans use 4.95 trillion gallons of water every year. So data centers account for about 0.001% of that. 1 part in 10,700. That's not even a drop in the bucket. But anyway, let's get to the stupidity. Robert Mace is the executive director of the Meadows Center for Water and the Environment at Texas State University. So you'd think he knows what he's talking about. But he said, quote, "People don't think of data centers as industrial water users, but they are. Once that water evaporates, it's just gone." What? And the article goes on to say, quote, "Some water is recycled, but a large portion evaporates during cooling and is lost forever." I always had an uneasy inkling that this is what environmentalists actually believe, but seeing it in print like this? Geez. Idiocy aside, this is the thing that gets me about government. Water is the ultimate renewable resource, but as Milton Friedman said, put government in charge of the Sahara and you'll end up with a shortage of sand. We can ship a barrel of oil halfway around the world for $1, as long as stupid governments aren't increasing the price with artificial shortages. But government can't move water more than a dozen or so miles away. That's the difference between government and the free market. But that means government needs someone to blame when California badly mismanaged its water systems, draining major lakes and waterways and paving rivers with levees so that clean potable water just goes straight out to the ocean, leading the state with arguably the greatest water resources in the country to drought-type restrictions. They had to blame everything from almond farmers to global warming. And we saw idiocy like claiming that a gallon of water was somehow embedded into every almond and lost forever. Of course not! That water just went somewhere else. That's what water does. So now, blame AI. Because why not, I guess. But again, no matter what, the water goes somewhere. It always comes back. That's the water cycle we all learned about in school. There is tons of potable water all over the continental U.S. If we'd left it to market forces, there'd be a nice, efficient, nationwide infrastructure just like there is with gasoline. Price would fluctuate based on conditions, meaning that you wouldn't have to pass any sort of restrictions. People would just naturally restrict their water use the way they naturally restrict the gasoline they use when shortages happen. And the result is that it would be much more plentiful everywhere than it is anywhere right now. And even if you are in an area where you need to desalinate water, hey, that's another reason for nuclear power. Because with just a few extra inexpensive systems, nuclear power can desalinate water and turn it into potable water delivered to the area. In fact, both the World Nuclear Association and the IAEA have been recommending nuclear desalination for over 2 decades. And that's just what I can think of off the top of my head. Who knows what entrepreneurs would come up with given the chance? There would be so many business opportunities for large-scale potable water if government would just get out of it. At the very least, we wouldn't be saddled with so-called experts who think that water goes away forever when it evaporates.